It's always interesting to watch people walk into the room and know they're going in for a leadership training and see a band set up. It's not your typical, environment to walk into. What's great is once we start our presentation, it's so rewarding to see how the leadership skills that I use to lead my band can correlate to leadership skills that the folks that are watching the show can use for their teams.
We want to do the same thing with your team members. We want to make sure that your groups, your team members, your employees feel like their input is valuable. And we want to make sure that they feel that their input is something that is investing into what ultimately goes out to your customer. That's what we're trying to do. We're trying to open up the dialogue not only amongst yourselves, but all of your team members too.
This is an experience. This isn't just someone standing in front of them talking about ideas. We're giving them that experience real time with a full band of musicians, a high functioning team that is actually carrying through the ideals that we're speaking to them about, and they can watch how it all works. It's different than anything else I've ever seen, and so I really believe this is a powerful way to deliver this leadership message.
So we had a large crowd of 70 leaders. That's not only a lot of people, that's a lot of egos. So to really bring down the inhibitions and bring out their collaborative nature is not easy, and Sonic leadership did a really great job. We had group work, we were really laughing, and it really capped off the entire experience of our conference. It really summed up and hit all the messages home that we really needed to, and it resonated with all of our leaders in the room. It was amazing, the level of engagement that they were able to get.
It's fine. Okay. Okay. So we're gonna let's try it we're gonna try it like in this form. So.
Come together.
I spent quite a few years in the Bay Area, and as a musician, I would find myself being asked to be an MC or a host of some corporate events, whether I was performing or just being an MC. I was really surprised at how incredibly boring some of these trainings were and how disengaged the attendees were. People in their laptops, checking their phones, and some guy up there at a podium with a PowerPoint presentation. And yeah, I mean, for me, I was being paid to be there to help it, and I was having a hard time, staying awake through it. Through that process, I said, there's a way to combine what I do in leadership as a musical director, and I've been doing this for now over 23 years, around the world, toured to over 65 countries, and worked for some of the top names in the music industry. As a musical director, as a leader, I can share some of what I know and how I get my team to do what they need to do and bring this into the corporate environment, because I know it's going to turn things on their head. It's going to get people out of the laptops. They're going to be clapping their hands, snapping their fingers, having a great time, engaged. And I think that's really critical for me. I really wanted to develop something where people could sit there and be engaged in the content they're hearing. And when I look at what the goals are of these trainings, where they can feel like they're learning about communication, they're learning about collaboration, they're learning about how to take their teams to the next level and really do something special, I said, music is one of the best vehicles to deliver this content. They're enter-trained, as we call. It's this great combination of entertainment and training, where the folks are coming in maybe not necessarily knowing what they're getting into because there's a band set up, but once we get into it, a couple minutes in, you can really see folks completely change. Their eyes are all looking at all the different things going on, and we really have this dynamic engagement with the audience. Yeah. The first is the Soundcheck. And the Soundcheck is where we get to align and really communicate with each other, establish a dialogue. What do you need? What does the drummer need? What does the bass player need? What do you hear? What do you see? It's so critical that everyone in my band feels like they have a voice. If they aren't comfortable from the very beginning, when they sit down, there's so many different elements that we're checking here. Do we have sight lines? Can we hear everybody? What does that person need so that they can really feel like I'm comfortable and I can do the best possible job for you? And for you is for me and for the audience.
What about you, Otto? Now, you're pretty loud, eh?
Yeah, I'll probably be pretty hot, but I can compromise with that. I just need Dave to move up a little so I can see us.
Oh, okay, great. So it's line of sight. Because if you're compromised sometimes with volume, now we're going to rely on body language. You need to look at each other.
The next element is our rehearsal, where we really focus on our collaboration. The collaboration is where we'll take some of the music that we're working on or planning to put into the show that night and dive into how each one of us can bring themselves to that piece or that composition, really feeling like they have ownership of not only the specific instrument they play, but they have ownership of the entire performance. It's so important for the attendees to watch this portion of the rehearsal process because instead of it just being me talking about a principle, they're able to watch an entire high-functioning team, my band, collaborate together, be creative together, communicate together, learn about each other, take their backgrounds and apply that and bring that to the whole product that eventually gets brought out to the audience. Here's the top.
Somewhere over the rainbow.
I kind of like that groove from the chaos thing you were doing. I know that maybe tone it down, maybe some kind of brushes or something like that. That was a cool groove. Yeah. Yeah. So just from that idea that we heard just a few minutes ago, now the song starts to take on its own new identity. Something that not only is just the way you've all heard it before, the way we've all sang it before, but something that gives us ownership to this piece that we're creating right now for you. We will invest ourselves into that very differently if we were just playing it the same old way.
After we've worked on the sound check, we've established our lines of communication, we've done the rehearsal, we've really collaborated great as a team, we've got great ideas. It's now time to take all of that and bring it out to our stakeholders, bring it out to our audience. The thing is once you establish this type of trust amongst an ensemble or amongst the team, you've eliminated egos. Everybody walks out on stage not for themselves, but for the better good of the entire ensemble and for the entire performance. To me, that's one of the most critical parts of taking the stage and doing the show, is knowing that when you walk on that stage, you're not alone. You've got everyone there behind you to put on the best show possible. Some of the key takeaways of sonic leadership are: 1, to engage with people around you. 2, to really find creativity and diversity through collaboration. And 3, the strength of the band or team is greater than any one soloist or individual contributor. One of the unique things about being a musical director and the leadership roles that are required of me is that I can't only be worried about what's going on stage. I have to also be worried about what the people in the audience are going to experience. You know, it's really critical for me to be able to take a step back and watch it from both sides of the stage. A great leader isn't going to always be in the business. They're going to be able to take that step back and work on the business. If I was only able to give a leader one piece of advice, it would be to be present. Enjoy the journey. Go for the ride. And most importantly, enjoy the music.